Hey folks, this is your Cowboys at the Capitol report here for the last week of March, right before we begin the April month on our legislative session. Wow, it has been quite a week. I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of the news that's come out of the Capitol, both the House and the Senate. The House on Monday, the Senate last night, Wednesday evening, voted on a tax or revenue bill. First time since the passage of SB State Question 640 that either the House or the Senate has passed a tax increase. Of course, that state question requiring 75% majority of the members of both chambers in order to pass that. They did that to fund specifically teacher pay raise and education. There's a little bit of maneuvering going on now, though. There was some angst with the $5 per night fee on hotel motel. And so there's some agreement to go ahead and remove that. So that here it is Thursday about lunchtime, and the House is working on that now to pass that bill to send it to the Senate to repeal that $5 portion. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and then what they may choose to replace that with. There's some talk of some internet sales tax type language that could replace that funding for that piece of the bill. So a lot of activity going on this week. We have been watching very closely this legislation, specifically because early on there was a piece in there that would have eliminated the deduction for capital gains in income tax. That would have been very detrimental to us as cattlemen, especially regarding breeding cattle. Cows and heifers, so forth. Certainly from a land perspective, there's some capital gains and issues, but more importantly, we were concerned about breeding livestock. That language has not been addressed. I've had good conversation with House leadership that language is not going to be seen. We'll continue to watch it very closely and make sure it's not. Obviously, we'll be watching also our ag sales tax exemption. It's not being discussed at this point in time, but we will be very vigilant about that. Again, there's several other measures we're looking at. We're looking at private property rights. There's some water bills, some property rights issue bills regarding drones, some of those types of things that we'll be watching and continuing on as we move through this next half of the session. Probably now a lot of attention is going to turn to the budget and completing the budget. I even heard some discussion about there's a possibility they may try to get done and get out of here early, sine die before the end of May. They've been here a long time if you consider the special sessions, so I think they're probably pretty anxious to get home. I don't know whether that's going to hold or not. It depends on kind of how things play out the next couple of weeks. So we'll continue to watch very closely these types of issues. If you have any questions about any issues that's going on with the legislature, don't hesitate to give us a call. If you're not a member of OCA, we encourage you to consider becoming a member of the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association. We're working very hard to represent the interest of cattle producers here in the state of Oklahoma. Thanks, folks, and we'll see you next week.